Did you have an obsession when you were a little girl? Maybe it was a singer or a favorite color that you wore it all the time, or a movie character, a TV show, and everything you had, from your lunchbox to the posters on your wall to even maybe your t-shirts, right, reflected how much you loved it. How vocal were you about that love and that obsession, all of your favorite things? Did your friends always know what to buy you for your birthday? Hey beautiful, I'm Holly Doherty, sculptor of self-worth at rediscoverradiance.com, and your NACRI personal stylist of self-care. On the first Wednesday of every month, I'm bringing you one essential piece of your self-care wardrobe, custom tailored to your style and personality. Today, we're going to talk about honoring your preferences as an act of self-care. What happened to that love and those obsessions when you got older? Did your love fizzle out? Did it get relegated to the realm of I don't care, or it's not important, or even I don't know anymore? Do you still know what gets you absolutely jazzed and bouncing up and down giddy like a little girl? Or have you lost sight of what excites you and rationalized it away to maybe the realm of childish unimportance? You know, it doesn't matter anymore, but it does. Because honoring your preferences is a very important act of emotional self-care. It's acknowledging your opinions and valuing yourself enough to say that what you love, what you enjoy, what you want and don't want is important, and you honor them. And that feeds your soul. So when it comes to things like, you know, your favorite color, what you like to eat, where you like to sit in a restaurant, I want you to banish I don't care from your vocabulary. You know, Jack Canfield said in his book, The Success Principles, if you don't have an opinion, act like you have an opinion. And he said, you know, ask yourself, if I did have an opinion in this matter, what would it be? And then make a choice. You know, maybe it doesn't make that much of a difference where you sit at a restaurant. If you sit with your back to the wall, facing out into the restaurant, or if you sit with your back to the restaurant, facing your wall, so you can focus on your dining companions. Maybe it doesn't make that much of a big difference in the grand scheme of things, but it makes a difference to you, and that's important, and that's good enough. You know, maybe you like the view better, or you like to sit on the left of your companions because you're left-handed. Take that seat if it's open. Start with those little acts of self-care, of honoring those preferences in those little ways. You know, do you like your Starbucks venti half-calf, 150 degrees with an extra shot of espresso and whip? Order it that way. That's what the baristas get paid for. Do you have a favorite color? You know, decorate with it. Choose that color whenever possible. A pen, a notebook, a shirt. I guarantee you can tell, and everybody who knows me for like more than 2 seconds can tell what my favorite color is, right? I'm obsessed with purple, and I'm on a mission to color my world purple because it brings me joy. No, it's not going to solve world hunger. No, it's not going to bring world peace, but it brings me joy, and that's enough as an emotional act of self-care. You know, think about a 3-year-old. They have no problem telling you what their favorite color is, what color plate they want to eat off of. You know, if they're determined they want a blue plate, not an orange one, they're going to let you know in no uncertain terms, right? They are masters at honoring their preferences. Now, I'm not saying go act like a 3-year-old, right? I'm not saying become a tyrant and demand that you get your way all the time, because after all, you're not 3 years old. You know, you live and you work with others, and you have to play nice, right? You have to compromise, you have to share, and that's all good and necessary. But remember that your wants and desires, your preferences, are just as important as everyone else's. You know, the problem is that somewhere along the line, many of us have learned or decided or been told that our preferences in these small matters aren't important. They don't make a difference. You know, we've been taught to take a back seat to everyone else in our lives, our kids, our husbands, our clients, everybody, and that our preferences don't really make a difference, but they do. And when you constantly sacrifice what you want, what brings you joy, what fills your soul, when you constantly sacrifice your preferences for the sake of other people, it can lead to burnout, depression, resentment. You know, honoring your preferences is super, super important. Think about, you know, your friend. Maybe you've got a friend who's a raving football fan, and she always wears her team shirt or team colors, or a friend who has this collection of nostalgic Coca-Cola memorabilia, right? I'm sure you have friends like that. You always know what to get them for Christmas, right? You know, they honor their preferences in that little tiny way. But it's not just personal preferences that are important. Honoring your preferences in business is important as well. You know, it impacts your client preferences, your work hour preferences, when you prefer to take phone calls, how you do your business, so many things. Whether or not you want to take credit cards, PayPal, all of those things, your preferences in your business. Yes, there are certain standards of business that we should probably adhere to, right? But there's so much leeway in how we conduct our businesses. And you have to honor your preferences in your business so you don't get burned out. You know, my client Anne is a perfect example of this. When I met her, she was successful, but miserable. She's a personal stylist, and she made multiple six figures working with just a small handful of high-end, highly paying clients. But she hated them. Okay, she didn't hate her clients, but she hated the type of client that she had. And she told me that when she started her business, everyone said that she should go after this Real Housewives of New York type client because they're obsessed with status and appearances and they have the money to pay her really well. And they did. But to attract these clients, Anne had to be like those clients or appear like those clients. She had to dress like them. She had to act like them. And she hated it. You know, she hated wearing pretentious clothing. She hated wearing gobs of makeup. She hated obsessing over finding the latest Marc Jacobs bag for her clients, only to have them throw it away during the next season when they wanted the new latest and greatest thing. You know, she hated pretending to be something that she wasn't and supporting lifestyles that conflicted with her core values and beliefs. And in the process of conforming to what other people told her she should be in her business, she lost sight of who she was. Has that ever happened to you? Did you ever conform yourself or your business to what others thought you should do and ended up miserable and burned out? You know, if you have, you're not alone. And here's the first step to fixing that. So when I work more closely with clients, one of the very first things we do is I help them get in touch with their preferences and learning to doggedly, religiously, without fail, honor their preferences every way that they can. You know, and I did this with Anne, and she realized that the clients she loves working with are more of a Malibu Beach-inspired natural fashionista. You know, less concerned with designer labels and conspicuous consumption, more enamored with sustainable fashion and vegan makeup. And she felt much, much more at home with this type of client, like she could be herself because that's who she was. And so it was scary for her to do this, but she honored that preference and she fired all of those soul-sucking clients that she had and focused on the type of client that she loved to work with. And not only did her business double, but she loved going to work now. She loved her business. She loved her clients. She loved what she did. And she was no longer stressed and conflicted about her work because she now had a business that supported her core values and beliefs, a business that honored her preferences. You know, for her, honoring those preferences was an act of self-care because she was no longer burnt out, she was no longer resentful of her clients and her business, and she loved it. Her work became a joy because she honored her preferences. You know, God doesn't call us to be timid, to be cookie cutter. He doesn't call us to be doormats. He calls us to be bold and courageous. And your preferences are a part of you. They're a part of your unique masterpiece that God created. And that makes your unique fingerprint in this world. So I challenge you to find simple ways to honor your preferences in everyday life. Do something nice for yourself every day. You know, drink from your favorite glass, write with your favorite pen, use a favorite scented lotion. You know, in January, we talked about these everyday acts of self-care, right? This ties in. Honor those preferences every single day. Do it because it makes you happy. You know, you're not trying to impress anybody else. You're doing it for you. And when you honor your preferences in the small things, it becomes so much easier to honor your preferences in the big things. You know, if you're having trouble honoring your preferences and your work style and the things that you want in your business, start with the little things in your life. Start with the pen, start with the color, start with the little things, because it all adds up and builds those confidence muscles and sends a very important message to you that you are important, that you are enough and you are worthy of this. So I have a handout for you, of course, that'll help you get in touch with your preferences and develop a plan to honor those preferences on a daily basis as an act of self-care. You can find it in the files section of this group. And to learn even more about honoring your preferences and how it can impact your life and your business and your confidence, I invite you to download my free gift, the Self-Worth Key. It's found at rediscoverradiance.com/key, and I'll put that link in the comments. And finally, if you want to be a part of a connected community of like-minded entrepreneurs, receive encouragement, support, ongoing education and training on every area of your business, I invite you to join NACWE, and I'll put that link in the comments as well. So I hope you enjoyed this, and until next month, stay beautiful.